We'll call the meeting to order. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Councilmember Wilbur and Fickman are absent. Approval of the agenda. We have two additions under action items. 7M, approve pay request number 4, and 7N, approve resolution 2023-51. Is there any other changes to the agenda? Council? Hearing nothing, do I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Heidi, second by Diane. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3 in favor, none against. Approval of the minutes of the August 2nd, 2023 meeting. Is there any changes, corrections?
I got a correction on page 4.
Okay.
Number F. That address is not Lake Shore Drive, it's Lake Ridge Drive.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the only one. Thank you.
Is there any others? With that change, do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Diane, do I have a second? Second by Heidi. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3 in favor, none against. This now brings us to our public open forum. Is there anyone here that would like to speak to the council? Is there anyone here that would like to speak to the council? Call a third time. Is there anyone here that would like to speak to the council? Our public open forum is now closed. We have no public hearings. We'll go on to reports and presentations. Public Works report.
So for the Public Works report tonight, I'm reporting for Ben. The storm sewers, they've made repairs to several catch basins that had issues with them. The stormwater pond maintenance is taking place. They're removing trees and sediment that is built up near the outlets in all the storm ponds around town. The new sweeper has been used to clean out the storm sewer basins that have been filled with dirt and debris. And they did jet the storm sewer lines that were all plugged, so they've done a lot of storm sewer work. The tree inspections around town were completed. Affected property owners will be receiving notice in the mail for any trees they need to remove. They have bladed all the gravel roads and alleyways, and they've done some miscellaneous tar patches were completed, but we still have some more to do once fines are available. The sidewalk grinding is scheduled to start the week of the 28th, so we had sent out notices to all the property owners that needed to do their sidewalks. Some opted to do themselves, and some are having us do them. So that's what's happening on the 28th. The right-of-way tree trimming is taking place along all the streets and boulevards. And they've completed the dog park project with the Girl Scouts groups. They did replace one tree. They added tires for the dogs that are up on edge, and then they painted those and added a new water line to the large dog area. And Lakeview Drive project is underway. If you've been out there, they've got it milled and the curb removal is completed. The new curb and asphalt to be installed over the next 2 weeks. One thing he wanted to bring up too for your consideration as we move forward is the Sand Pro, which is used up at the arena for the ball fields. They use the other ball fields. They use it for all the sand playgrounds and the beach, and then they also use it when they're leveling for seeding. That it's getting to the point where it needs to be replaced. He said in the parks budget this year, they do have money in the budget to purchase a piece of machinery, and he believes that is what they could get the most bang for their buck out of. So we'll be talking to you about that later. He just wanted to bring that up. The Sand Pro that we have, we bought used in 1998, so it's getting very tired. He's thinking that we can find a used Sand Pro in the $10,000 to $15,000 range. Haven't done a lot of research on that yet. He wanted to bring it before the council first. So something to think about as we move forward this year. And that is all we have.
That was for the 23 budget?
2023 budget.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. City engineer report. Keith?
Okay, good evening, Mayor and Council. South Industrial Park project is really nothing major since the last time I was here. We are putting in irons on the lots out there so that everything's ready for development which is already beginning to occur out there. So that's about the only real update on that particular project. Second Street as well, nothing new since the last time we discussed. Everything's still on schedule. Paving will be either the last week or first of August or first week of September for that second lift of paving. And then early September, we'll get into their redoing all that seeding again. So nothing's changed since the last time I was here. Authors additions, the actual paving on the first lift was done today, so you can actually go in there and drive around if you would like and see that. They're working on the intersection, starting to do some of that. Removals have been done. Storm sewer has been done. The next thing you'll see is kind of excavation on that west, I guess it'd be the southwest quadrant, pulling that out, putting some sand in, putting some gravel in, and they'll sort of take some of that material out of the other side, and it'll start shaping up and looking like what it's going to look like from there. Curb will be potentially yet this week. I would sort of bet that it'll be early next week where curb will go in that intersection, and scheduled for the following week for paving on that. And they'll probably be coinciding with what's going on the Second Street project, that paving. So we'll probably do that, pave that portion, and then come back and do the wear course over top of it. So that's kind of the schedule for everything's going on Authors. So any questions that you may have?
Is there going to be any requirement to communicate with the bus garage with school starting on September 7th?
I will make sure that we communicate with them so they know it should be open. We'll just have to make sure that we're not paving at the time that they're ready to try to pick up kids up there. So
Yeah.
what we can do is make sure that that portion is done sort of after they pick kids up and get those things done. So we'll coordinate with them.
Okay.
Okay. August 28th, you said, was when they were planning on starting paving, second lift?
Yeah, out on the Second Street project out there, it'll be either that week or the first week in September. Ideally, we're shooting for that last week in August, and it looks like things are currently on schedule for that to occur.
Okay. The reason why I brought that up is because from what I understand from the Public Utilities Commission charter hasn't done anything yet. So, I talked to Shannon when we were in the committee on the Public Utilities Board. We talked to Shannon and basically said if they're gonna start doing tar on the 28th, if charter's gonna do anything or anybody's gonna do any boring, they better get it done before the 28th or it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Because we're not gonna be punching holes in brand-new streets just because they don't have their stuff together.
I don't know if it's the same. I do know that someone's coming in next week to do Authors editions, and whether that's the same company.
Shannon
chance?
had another company that was gonna come in and do some
Okay.
quick boring, but I told him it had to be done before the 28th.
Yeah, okay,
So otherwise it wasn't gonna get done either.
yep,
So,
okay.
just so you are in the loop,
I
So.
appreciate that.
okay?
Any other questions?
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Brian has got a police department report, but he's not here yet. He had a wake to go to, so we'll go into action items. Approve EMT appointments.
Kathy Strufert, Ambulance Director, has submitted for approval the following. Jordan Hartman, who is currently an EMR at the ambulance, she would like authorization for him to attend the EMT class, which is beginning August 31st. And also Sarah Larson to be appointed as an EMR, which is a first responder driver. She already has her EMR license. So what we're looking to do is to approve these requests as submitted.
Questions, comments? Otherwise, do I have a motion to approve those two requests?
Second.
Motion by Heidi, seconded by Joe. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4 in favor, none against. 7B, accept resignation of Public Works employee.
Don Struss has submitted his resignation from his position with Public Works Maintenance. He has been with the city since September of 2006, so he's been here 17 years. His resignation is effective September 14th, 2023, so we're asking you tonight to accept the resignation of Don Stress effective September 14th, 2023.
Do I have a motion to accept the resignation?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Diane, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Heidi. We'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4 in favor, none against. And I want to thank Don for his years of service. Brian is here now, so we'll bring him right up. We'll jump in and get his report out of the way, and then we'll finish our action items.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Activity report for July 2023, some of the numbers we had. We had 11 alarm calls. We had 23 citizen contacts. We had 17 door checks, did 73 foot patrols in parks and Walmart, 9 found properties, 17 matter of info calls, 32 medicals, 561 traffic stops, 14 patrols at the fair. We had 6 gas no pays, 14 accidents, 19 assists for persons, 8 behavioral health calls, 7 harassment calls, 12 welfare checks, 7 unwanted person calls, 12 juvenile problem calls, 7 driving complaints, 13 verbal disputes, 32 assists for other agencies. We had 5 felony warrant arrests, 12 neighborhood dispute calls, 9 child custody calls, 28 citations for no driver's license, 13 citations for driving after revocation or cancellation. And of course, we had Sinclair Lewis days. I think they went fairly well, like we discussed last month. I think a lot of people in town, but I think everything went pretty smooth. And then we had the Stearns County Fair. The normal calls for that, a lot of people the last two days. It was very, very packed, a lot of people. So all the normal calls, some missing children and some lost parents and medicals, quite a few medicals because of the heat. So a few carnival staff issues that I won't mention. So yeah. Otherwise, let's see, for the compared to last year, 2022, we were up 260 calls. And compared to June, we're up 213 calls. What do we have? We had a total of 1,281 calls for the month. So it was a very busy month, which it should be. So I think everything went pretty smooth though for all the events. Unless
Comments?
you guys heard some other complaints or anything? I don't know.
Anyone have any? Okay, thank you, Brian.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Brian.
Thank you.
Now we'll go back to 7C, authorize advertisement for Public Works employee.
So with the resignation of Don Stress from the Public Works Department, we do have a vacancy. We have 2 options simply because we recently hired an employee and we have those applications are still out there. We can revert to the next qualified candidate from the prior interviews, or we can advertise and post the position for the candidates, which that original one could apply again if he wanted. So if the advertisement were chosen, I do have a suggested timeline, meaning beginning advertising on August 24th. Then we'd submit applications till September 12th. We'd select for interview through the 18th, and then have interviews that first week in October. And then offer the position, the second meeting in October, and then have some start date, probably mid-November. So kind of give you an idea of what that timeline would look like. We'd ideally like to have somebody in before snow flies. That's the part of the year that we really need all of our staff here, is when we're plowing snow. So I guess I'd like you to suggest which one of the options you prefer. You know, if we revert to the next qualified candidate, and if he's interested, of course, it'll be a lot sooner that we would be able to get him in the position. But I wanted to gauge how you felt about doing that. I think when we interviewed, we had the top 2 candidates. We kind of all agreed on those were our top 2 candidates. It could have gone either way at that time. And so I think that the next candidate would be a good choice if he's still willing. If you want to see what else is out there, we can go that route.
Comments?
I think for the sake of time, it'd be, if the candidate is still available, to eliminate the process, the timeline, and give Ben the chance to train in time to meet the snowfly deadline. We could offer the second candidate after our last interview process.
That's basically the way I was thinking too, was, going with the next available candidate. It hasn't been that long since we hired the last one.
So
You
it's good.
sat in on the interviews. I'm not sure who that person is, but it doesn't make any difference. They came in close to the one that we hired.
Yeah.
So, and then if that person says no, then we go to our other timeline, but
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
that's, the faster we can get them on board, and the more they can get to see something without snowbanks on it,
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
and know where they're actually going, so it might save us a lot in the long run. But
Yeah, I mean, I think if as a group that did the interviews, we're comfortable with them and it was kind of 1A, 1B, and you could have gone either way. I think if we're comfortable with him as a candidate, offer it and see, and then open up from there.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to go with option 1.
I'll second it.
okay, we have a motion by Joe, and a second by Diane to go and offer the position to the second place candidate from last time, and if not, then we will go to the advertising.
Okay,
So
thank you.
I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 4 in favor, none against. Approved termination of cleaning contract.
Sarah Stress, who has been the cleaning here for the last few years, has notified the city she will no longer be available to provide cleaning services for the city buildings effective August 21st, 2023. So what we're looking to do is to approve the termination of the cleaning contract effective that date.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the termination?
Motion to, I'll second it.
Either
Heidi
or.
made it. Heidi made
Either or.
it. Yeah, I'll
Okay,
second it.
motion by Heidi, second
Yeah.
by Diane. Discussion.
I know the last time that we've discussed this, we've had issue with finding personnel. So is there a timeline or what to do in the meantime?
That's the next.
That's the
item.
next
Oh, yeah, it
item.
is, isn't it?
So we'll take care of this. Any other discussion? Otherwise, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 4 in favor, none against. Now, authorize advertisement for cleaning services, public buildings.
So with that upcoming vacancy for cleaning services, it's an opportunity for us to look at how we want to proceed with that. The position has averaged about 8 hours per week for the city hall, including the PD and the fire department and the airport AD building. And in the past, it's gone anywhere between 8 and 12, depending on what's the condition of the building at that time. We have the opportunity, we could go back to having a part-time employee do this. We do have a part-time employee that cleans at the library. When Sarah Stress was hired, I went back to her to see if she was interested in taking on the city hall, and she wasn't at that time, but she may be. I've had other people express interest as well. So we could go with a part-time employee or contracted services. We have the opportunity to do either way. A part-time employee could potentially reduce the overall cost of the service. However, if an employee is hired, the city is then responsible for purchasing the cleaning products, and then we have supervision and that. So it's a little bit different relationship. But, I mean, we could go out there and look for a part-time custodial person, and then we'd have that person to move around to do, if they had to run up to the senior center or had to clean in the library or something, we could use them that way. Or we can go out and advertise for a service. I do know, like Heidi said, when we advertise for services, it gets very complicated. And so that's why I thought maybe we should research the idea of going back with a part-time custodian. We do have it already in our pay scale because we have that at the library. We had a custodian many years ago who's part of the Public Works Group. And we're not proposing to do that, we're just because this would be very, very part-time, would not be a full-time position. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that. I know that Sarah had given us notice that, and she was getting paid approximately $36 an hour on a contract service, but that was going up to 40. And so an employee, of course, would be significantly less than that.
Comments, concerns?
That's if we can find somebody that wants to be an
Right.
employee for
Right.
8 to 10 hours a week.
I'm leaning toward looking at the part-time employee.
Me too.
And I can see the reason why she would have been increasing because the price of cleaning supplies is going up. We might be able to find another outlet where we maybe can get it cheaper.
I don't know, I mean, you take in the cost that, of now purchasing the supplies, payroll expenses, changing things that have it for an employee versus contract service. I don't know if that's, that benefit would weigh itself out there.
Because right now at the library, we've got the part-time employee and we haven't had any issues that I know of. And she's on part-time's not receiving any benefits or anything like that, so.
This is assuming that she'd be interested. So first, we have to consider, is she interested? Second, then we'd obviously have to,
We'd have to
Advertise.
advertise for a part-time employee if we wanted to go that way.
mhm,
Yeah.
I have had a
Sounds
couple of
good.
people express interest.
yeah.
Express interest in an employee role versus a
Employee role,
contract
yeah,
role?
The employee role. They don't want to deal with buying insurance and doing all that kind of.
Even at 8 to 10 hours a week?
Well, they have to supply their own insurance, liability insurance.
As a part-timer, though?
No, as a part-time, they don't
Would a
have
part-time
to.
be interested in that I've told them how many hours it is. Whether, I don't know how serious they are at this point, because I didn't know if there would be a position yet.
Okay.
So. And it's not like the building's gonna fall down on the 21st when she leaves. In the past, we've gone months without somebody clean. We clean our own offices, we took turns cleaning bathrooms, Public Works came in and mopped floors. Wendy mopped floors, so
I think Sarah's done a great job, though.
she has.
Yeah.
And we're sad to see her go.
Yeah.
But she probably wants to go with her husband when he moves.
We could get all these people that are arrested for not having a valid driver's license. They could come down here and clean for a while for, like a chain
It's an
gang.
option.
Yeah. And then it's still gonna cost you money,
Yeah.
mainly because you gotta oversee what they're doing. So, what direction do you wanna tell Vicky to proceed with this?
I'll make a motion to offer to the current part-time employee, and if not, advertise for a part-time employee.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries 3 in favor, 1 against. 7F, approve ordinance 824 governing cannabis use in public places.
So with the legalization of the use of cannabis, which became effective August 1st, 2023, the council should determine where it would be appropriate for its use. The law states that it's allowed in a private residence, in others' private property unless prohibited by the owner, and on the premises of an establishment or event licensed to permit on-site consumption. The law does not specify where it is not allowed, it just says where we have to allow it, where it is allowed. So Stearns County is proposing to adopt a countywide ordinance which covers all areas of the county unless a jurisdiction adopts its own. The issue with depending upon the county's ordinance is that the city cannot enforce a county ordinance, so enforcement would be with the county. So if the city PD is to have enforcement capabilities, the city should have its own ordinance. So the one that is attached is basically the county's ordinance, although I did change it over to Sauk Center, and we also added a provision that in addition to a misdemeanor, it could be at the discretion of the officer, an administrative penalty. So they could, depending on the severity of it, they could go either way. And so this was run by our city attorney as well to make sure everything was adequate. What it does basically is it allows you to do it in the places that I specified earlier, but it does not allow it in the public places or places of public accommodation. So that's kind of really all it is. Most of it is legal penalty, prohibited acts, all of that we need to have. This would be incorporated into our city code as chapter 133. I have talked to the chief about this And they believe that we should have an ordinance in place, not that we're going to go around necessarily seeking it out, but if we do have a problem, we can do something about it. And we don't have to rely on a deputy to come to town to do something about it.
Right. And this was reviewed by legal?
Yes.
Yes. Comments?
I
It
think it
only
makes
makes
sense.
sense that we have our own,
Yep.
because otherwise, anytime they come across it, they gotta call Stearns County and have them come in and take care of it.
Yeah.
And who knows how long that'll take. No other comments? Do I have a motion to approve ordinance 824?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Joe, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Diane. Call the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 4 in favor, none against. 7G, approve ordinance 825, authorizing summary publication of ordinance 824.
So since you just adopted ordinance 825, this attached ordinance authorizes summary publication of the ordinance. This adoption requires a 4/5 vote. And what it basically does would say, it authorizes summary publication of ordinance 824, which amends the city code by adding a section establishing regulations governing the use of cannabis and cannabis-derived products in public places. And if people can read that title and understand what that ordinance is, then we're allowed to publish it. So that is the action that we are requesting.
Okay? Do I have a motion to approve ordinance 825?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Heidi, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe. Any discussion? Call the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 4 in favor, none against. 7H, approve resolution 2023-47, establishing administrative penalty.
So with the adoption of that ordinance, the administrative penalty is actually adopted by resolution, and then it'll go on our fee schedule for future use. And this would be the administrative penalty that the police department can impose to enforce that ordinance. In here it says moratorium, it should be enforce the ordinance. The recommended fee is $150, so that would be an administrative fine. If they're prosecuted as a misdemeanor, then that's a $300 fine. So that's kind of the difference between the two. One is more severe than the other. An administrative penalty, though, is voluntary. You know, they can, if they pay that, they volunteer, it's kind of like voluntarily saying they're guilty, so to speak, without going to court. So what we're looking to is approving resolution 2023-47, establishing the administrative penalty fee for ordinance violation for use of cannabis in public places.
Question?
Is this, Brian, is this similar to like, I don't know, not public intoxication, or would it be equivalent to? Okay. Not that it's more severe or less severe, it's the same administrative fee, okay.
Wasn't there always used to be a limit on how much we could do on an administrative fee? I always thought that was $100 was the most we could ever do. But maybe I'm mistaken.
There was, on some nuisance ones, there's maximums. On
Oh.
land use type stuff, there's
Okay.
maximums.
All right. Anyone else have any questions? Otherwise, do I have a motion to approve resolution
I'll
2023-47?
make the motion.
Motion by Diane, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Heidi. Call the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 4 in favor, none against. 7I, approve resolution 2023-48, calling for public hearing on unpaid utility assessments.
So as you know, each year the city council reviews outstanding invoices for utilities and service payments and has the option to certify these unpaid invoices for collection of property taxes. We're having a listing that's being prepared for council's review. Prior to certification to the property taxes, the owners of the said properties are afforded the option of attending a public hearing on the proposal. We are recommending October 4th, 2023 to be the date to hold that meeting, because after that, then they have 30 days to pay, so that'll be the beginning in November. We have to certify by November 15th. So we're looking to approve resolution 2023-48, calling the public hearing to consider certification of special assessments.
Questions, concerns? Do I have a motion to approve Resolution 2023-48?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Joe, do I have a second?
No second.
Second by Diane. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4 in favor, none against. 7J, approve Resolution 2023-49, calling for hearing on final assessments for 2023 reclamation project.
So because the 2023 project is underway and will be nearly complete, a public hearing was previously held, and we notified all affected property owners of the project, and a reasonable estimate of the amount of each assessment was provided to them at that time. The after bid amount actually reduces that assessment, and so this hearing on final assessment will authorize final adoption. Again, we are recommending that hearing to be held on October 4th at 6:30 p.m. We will send a notice to all affected property owners, and it will include their final assessment amount. So following the public hearing and the adoption of the assessment, they can prepay their assessment at City Hall up to November 15th with no interest applied. So we're looking to approve Resolution 2023-49, calling the public hearing on the final special assessments for the 2023 street reclamation project.
Questions, concerns? Do I have a motion to approve Resolution 2023-49?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Heidi,
No second.
seconded by Diane. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4 in favor, none against. 7K, approve Resolution 2023-50, calling for hearing on final assessments for Authors Edition project.
This is ditto of what I just said about the prior resolution. This is for the Authors Edition. You know, there are some assessments for that project, and several of them will be deferred, but we still need to go through the process to get them certified. And that's Resolution 2023-50, calling the public hearing for the 2023 Authors Edition project, again on October 4th at 6:30.
Questions, concerns? Otherwise, do I have a motion to approve Resolution 2023-50?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Diane. I will second it. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4 in favor, none against. 7L, approve step advancement, Ben Klink.
So Public Works Supervisor Ben Klink has been with the city since October 1st, 2018. He's advancing according to the non-union pay scale and is now eligible to advance to Step 7. As a non-union employee, this advancement is subject to City Council approval. It is recommended the approval be granted effective October 1st, 2023. So that is the request tonight, is to approve that advancement of Ben Klink to Step 7, except effective October 1st, 2023.
Questions? Otherwise, do I have a motion to approve the advancement?
Motion.
to-
Motion by Heidi, second by Joe.
Yep.
Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4 in favor, none against. 7M, approve pay request number 4, Keekly Underground for Authors Edition.
So pay request number 4 has been submitted to Keekly Underground. The amount of this request is $428,488.41. We have previously paid $611,846.42. The total contract is $1,334,774. So you can see we're still about have $350,000 left to pay on that contract, and a lot of that will be paid next year after the final lift goes in. So what we're looking is to approve the pay request number 4 to Keekly Underground, $428,488.14 or 41.
Questions? Comments? Do I have a motion to approve pay request number 4?
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Diane, second by Joe. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4 in favor, none against. 7N, approve resolution 2023-51, approving minor subdivision.
Alan and Susan Conant have requested approval to split a lot into 2 and then combine each portion of the subdivided parcel with the adjoining property. The resulting lots will meet all criteria for residential R1. You do have the certificate of survey has been completed by a registered land surveyor, and you do have it in your packet. You will see that Lot 2 is being split, and 23.4 feet of it is going to be added to Mr. Conan's primary lot where he lives. The balance of the lot is going to be added to the next lot over to create a larger building site. And that is Resolution 2023-51, approving the minor subdivision.
Questions, comments? Everyone knows where this is located?
Yeah.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve Resolution 2023-51?
I'll make the motion.
And I'll second.
Motion by Diane, second by Heidi. Any other discussion? Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4 in favor, none against. Unfinished business, nature energy updates.
Just kind of a little bit of an update on Nature Energy. So we continue to be in communication with Nature Energy representatives as they work their way through the process to potentially locate this biogas facility in Sauk Center. They're currently working on the utility needs and availability analysis. And so they have an engineer that is working with the public utility, and this will include like the water, sewer, and electric. The main issue right now is getting all the electric needs and get that, determine what that is and how we can provide that. They also have a public website, which I provided you earlier with information, but there now is a Q&A section and a comment section and a place where the public can post questions and ask questions. So they have expanded that section of the website. There is a drop-down section for Sauk Center itself, so it'll talk about the United States facilities, and you drop down that menu, and there's Benson and Paynesville and Sauk Center. We're one of those. The website address, if you go in and look for natureenergy.com, it's the us.nature-energy.com to make sure you get into the United States one and not into the Denmark one, which is not even in English. We are scheduling an open house, and that is being scheduled. They're going to have one in the early afternoon, and they're going to have one in the evening. So I'm working with him right now on, they would like a facility that can have about 100 people in it, and then they want to serve refreshments, so we're trying to find out what is a good location that we can do that. So this is kind of an informational update for you. People have been asking what's going on with that. Are we still hearing with them? It's been a little quiet right now, and it's like, well, we want to move to the next step. They want to move to the next step. They just have a few of these other details that we're trying to iron out to be sure. So they are still very much interested in locating here.
Okay, anyone have any questions on that? Okay, we have no new business. You have an updated consent agenda handed out tonight. Schedule of claims, unpaid claims, $534,317.83 for a total of the same. June checks, paid claims / payroll of $1,651,747.48. Is there any questions about the consent agenda? If not, do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented?
Motion to approve.
Motion by
second.
Joe, second by Diane. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4 in favor, none against. Informational items.
This is the budget meeting that we had scheduled. I sent out the doodle poll. Actually, August 30th or August 31st works, except I haven't heard from Joe. We're having a little trouble with our doodle thing, so I'm not sure if you didn't get it or.
Well, I responded and
You
everything on
responded
it.
and it didn't show up on my thing that you did, so
So
if one of those 2 days works for you, that's great. You said that you had some glitch in there.
I did. I could only respond to one date, and every other date, it didn't allow me to respond to multiple. So
And I don't know, because the
yeah.
other ones did and didn't have, so I don't know. I'm not sure what happened there. But in any case, so the August 30th or August 31st works. Ben just texted me earlier and said that there's an open house at the school on the 30th. Is that your conflict?
Yeah.
So maybe the 31st is a better night?
Would
If
be
it still
better for
works for
me.
everybody, we can do that. That's a
Work for me.
Thursday.
So it's the
So
30th
if
or
that
31st?
works, we could
Yes.
schedule it for that
We're deciding.
and just
Oh.
come in at 5 o'clock.
Well, how long do we think it will take, I guess, is maybe the better question.
How long
20
will it
minutes.
take?
Yeah.
Depends on how many questions you ask.
10, 20
I could be in
minutes.
and out in 5 minutes. I mean, I'm,
Yeah.
My meeting's at 6 on the 30th, that's why I was wondering.
okay. And then we also have, I got the budget back from all the department heads, and I have it all tied together now. I'll send it out to the finance committee and we'll meet, so they'll have their time to work on their recommendations, and I'll get them out to the council early as well. Hopefully by the end of next week, you have to the council, so you'll have them a week ahead of time to have, and then you can even get back to me with specific questions if you have them, so it kind of will maybe speed up that budget meeting that night.
So we looking at the 30th or the 31st?
I think the 31st.
But then you've
31st.
got a 31st conflict or a 30th?
Well, I
conflict?
mean, both of them probably aren't great, but I'll make it work.
You'll make it work?
I think we could be, if the finance committee meets beforehand and has all of our,
We do it
Our
on the
irons.
30th, and we do Ben right away, he can be out of here before.
We can move it up to
so-
4:30, but I don't know how it works for you guys to be here by then.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
fine
no
with
problem
me.
with me.
that's
I
fine.
can be here at 4:30.
Maybe we can
Okay.
do that, and we
Okay.
can do the 31st at
sooner.
4:30, it'll kind of pull it a little quicker.
Because then Jacqueline's here too until 5:30, so.
Yep,
Okay. All right, so it'll be August 30th at 4:30.
31st at 4:30.
Oh, 31st, okay.
Okay.
Okay, anything else on that? Otherwise, we've reached the end of our agenda. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Heidi,
I'll
second
second.
by Diane. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4 in favor, none against. Meeting adjourned.